une pièce tout à fait unique.
Tintin et le cinéma, ça ne date pas d'hier. Dès 1961, l'intrépide reporter débarque sur grand écran, d'abord en prise de vue réelle, puis en animation. Pourtant, le héros inventé par Hergé n'aura jamais eu droit à l'adaptation cinéma qu'il mérite, jusqu'à ce qu'un certain Steven Spielberg entre en scène. Il faut attendre le début des années 80 et la sortie des Aventuriers de l'Arche perdue pour que le papa d'Indiana Jones croise le chemin de Tintin.
La maquette cache un indice qui conduit à l'un des plus grands trésors de l'histoire. Bravo, Mou.
I didn't know much about Tintin at all. I didn't know anything about Tintin until I read a French review in 1981 of Raiders of the Lost Ark that kept comparing my movie to something called Tintin. I did not know what they were talking about. I got one of the books. It was all in French. I don't read French, but I could read the story just based on the illustrations, the amazing artwork, the characters, the humor, the plot. It was all illustrative. It was done by Hergé. I didn't need to read the words. When I got to the end of it, I could see their point. I could see a little bit of it was a bit of a cousin.
Un cousin d'Indy donc, dont Spielberg va acquérir les droits d'adaptation dès 1983. Pour les fans, l'attente ne fait que commencer.
I was a huge Tintin fan. I'd read the books, collected the books since I was 5 or 6 years old, and I was looking forward to Steven's Tintin movie, and I was kind of looking forward to it for a quarter of a century. And you can't imagine the mind-blowing moment when Steven invited me on board. Very difficult decision. Had to think about it for 2-3 seconds, but it's been an absolute joy.
Peter Jackson, qui reçut son Oscar du meilleur film pour Le Retour du Roi des mains même de Steven Spielberg en 2004, se retrouve donc embarqué dans l'aventure Tintin. Reste désormais à définir la forme que prendra cette adaptation.
I wanted a test shot to make a determination as to the medium Tintin would be captured. Would it be motion capture? Would it be straight digital animation? Or would it be a live-action film? I asked Peter's company, Weta, to do a Snowy test, because Snowy was going to have to be, either way, a digital dog. And in the test, what surprised me the most was Captain Haddock came out, a live-action character, and it was Peter Jackson in a Captain Haddock suit. And it convinced me that Peter and I should collaborate on the film, and also convinced the two of us that we should not do this live action.
Les aventures de Tintin seront donc animées. Un choix évident pour les deux cinéastes, qui peuvent ainsi rendre un vrai hommage à l'œuvre d'Hergé.
Merci. À propos, je m'appelle Tintin.
Haddock, Archibald Haddock.
We love art so much, we wanted to honor Hergé by using animation to get as close as we could to the characters he invented, not characters that we would then reinvent based on big names, big movie stars that would look like big movie stars.
Pour le casting, justement, pas de stars d'Hollywood, mais des comédiens solides, capables de donner vie au personnage d'Hergé à travers la performance capture.
Wonderful thing with motion capture is that you have the entire casting pool of actors available to you. I mean, this is the only film that you'd ever cast Simon Pegg and Nick Frost as twins, for instance, identical twins.
Actors just need each other to act together. All that stuff is forgotten. So even though our actors are wearing motion capture suits, performance capture suits, they're wearing headgear, a little camera and dots on their faces, after laughing at each other for about 10 minutes and getting that out of their systems, it's just, they're performing characters. And I think that is the secret of great acting. You have to bring your imagination to the party.
The great thing about performance capture is you can be really, as a director, you can be really intimately close to the actors, because you're not going to be caught on film. The performance capture cameras are capturing the actors. So we were able to improvise stuff and come up with stuff very quickly. They worked terrifically together.
Grâce à la performance capture, la production des aventures de Tintin ne s'est pas apparentée à un film d'animation classique, géré de loin par le tandem Spielberg-Jackson, mais bien par une approche traditionnelle d'un tournage, améliorée par la suite par ordinateur à l'image d'un Avatar.
But we wanted to be able to walk into this world of this sort of virtual world that we created with the characters from Tintin, with the locations that have been built in the computer, the sets, and be able to pick up a camera, literally pick up a camera, it's a virtual camera, but shoot a live action movie inside this strange hybrid photoreal world.
But you look up and you see actors in motion capture suits in a white basketball court we call the volume, but I would look down into the monitor and there would be the characters, the actual real-time
pre-visualization, which is like a very simple piece of animation, and then you slowly are layering it and layering it. And so even though Tintin's taken Stephen and I 5 or 6 years from the very beginning of the process to get to the point where we are now. It's been 5 or 6 absolutely dynamic years, because literally every week we're seeing new things. We're seeing new versions of shots. Even though we've seen them before, they're starting to come to life in a way you go, oh my God, it's exciting. It's really exciting.
Le résultat, premier volet d'une trilogie tintinesque, est attendu en octobre 2011 sur les écrans, avec Le Secret de la Licorne et la rencontre entre Tintin et le Capitaine Haddock.
Vous avez touché quelque chose?
We wanted that meeting between those two to be part of the first film, and that meeting comes from The Crab with the Golden Claws. So we've taken a section of that and we've grafted it into The Secret of the Unicorn as the body of the film, if you like.
In the middle of all that forward motion, we take time for the characters to have a relationship with each other. We take time for Captain Haddock to moan about, what brought him to drink and close to ruination. And we even go back in the first movie to Captain Haddock's ancestors. So we get to know a lot about why Captain Haddock is the man he is today.
In the first story, Tintin and he form this very strong friendship and relationship, and eventually they go on to solve other mysteries in the future.
Vous l'aurez compris, Tintin, c'est un film fait par des fans pour les fans. Rendez-vous le 26 octobre sur les écrans pour une aventure pas comme les autres.
In my opinion, they're the most incredible mixture of action, excitement with an exotic kind of European thriller sort of twist. They're the sort of mysteries that I think just about everybody grows up with. And because Stephen and I haven't really ever grown up, they're exactly the sort of films that we like making.
Yeah, I think it'll be a great film for a family to sit down just before Christmas or around Christmas time and watch together, for anyone from 6 years to 80 years or beyond.
Any good movie filled with adventure and surprises and thrills is the fact that hopefully the audience will come out of it out of breath, which is how we feel making this movie.
Yeah, I mean, I never want anything more than just an audience to come out of the movie thinking that was a great night at the movies.
Qu'avez-vous fait?
J'ai allumé un petit feu.
Dans un bateau?
Accrochez-vous, Tintin!
On ne peut plus faire machine arrière. Pas maintenant.